saya telah menyerah surat peletakan jawatan sebagai Perdana Menteri ketujuh.
Spilling onto the streets of Duma over the weekend, a rebel-held district near the Syrian capital Damascus.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
全市的公共交通、地铁、渡轮、乘客运、机场和火车站都暂停。
50% rise in the number of people who died of COVID-19.
Dan untuk itu kerajaan memutuskan untuk melaksanakan perintah kawalan pergerakan. Tetapi jika saudara-saudari masih bergerak ke sana, ke sini, ke sana, ke sini,
It's not about me, it's about what we can do together as one.
Ku beri sepenuhnya ini negaraku. Oh darahku, hiduplah sepenuhnya, dirgayu semua. Ini untuk kamu yang terima undi aku. Trying to change the world, bagi dunia suara baru. Ini bukan negara aku, ini negara kita. Buat je cara kita, buat je cara kita.
Aung San Suu Kyi even won a Nobel.
Aung San Suu Kyi was kept under house arrest by the brutal military dictatorship.
Water can carry a ship. It can also sink a ship. Don't ever give up. Never lose hope.
News about the final moments of the helicopter flight that ended in tragedy for 9 people, including Kobe Bryant.
I pledge to be a president who seeks not to divide, but unify.
Los Angeles Lakers.
Worried that TikTok's going to be banned in the United
The
States.
2020 Summer Olympics, now the latest major sports cancellation caused by the global COVID-19 pandemic. Diego Maradona has died. This news threw in the
Salam sejahtera Malaysia dan salam Ramadan.
Salam sejahtera, salam Ramadan juga Elaine. You puasa ke tak?
Yes, I am. I'm not sure if I can do a full month, but I'll try. I'll do my best. I will do my best.
Oh wow, I'm so proud. At least you cuba sebab Elaine dah beberapa hari, tak dah beberapa hari, actually dah few weeks ago dia dah kata I nak puasa. So I'm so glad dia actually puasa hari ni. Jadi kita puasa sama-sama. Yeah. Both of us can do this. Tak adalah I seorang je lemah bila buat show ni. Okey, disebabkan kami berdua puasa, kami mohon maaf sekiranya ada tersasul sikit untuk show malam ini. Sebab itulah Elaine, oksigen tak berapa nak naik lagi.
I foresee a lot of it, Heidi, but that's okay. Last week, we did a giveaway contest via our social media Instagram. Congratulations to our winners. Your gifts are on its way to you. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms down below. And Aini, finally, our app is available. Download our app to get a chance into participating our future giveaways and our weekly merchandise giveaways. You can also watch our live show and reruns on the app easy breezy. But for now, we'll be talking Ramadan. Wow, that's start. We'll be talking about Ramadan and health in a bit, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
Selamat kembali ke The Unity Show. Anda bersama saya Aini Sohaidi dan Elaine Audrey. Pejam celik, kita dah pun masuk ke episod 21 pada malam ini.
Yeah.
Selamat menunaikan ibadah puasa juga bagi mereka yang berpuasa dan juga bagi mereka yang ingin mencuba bagaimana rasanya berpuasa ini. Macam Elaine, I rasa Elaine pun tengah puasa sekarang ni.
Yeah, third year
berpuasa. Sempena di bulan Ramadan, kita bawakan segmen istimewa tentang hubung kait antara berpuasa dan kesihatan tubuh badan. Kami hadirkan seorang pakar yang begitu sinonim di dalam bidang beliau untuk memberi pendapat dan berkongsi ilmu bersama kita pada malam ini. Beliau adalah pakar runding endokrinologi di Hospital Putrajaya dan juga Presiden Persatuan Endokrin dan Metabolik. Sila beri tepukan untuk Datuk Dr. Zanariah Hussein.
Hi, Doctor.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
How are you, Doctor?
Saya nak bagi pembetulan sikit lah. Saya immediate past president. Baru bertukar presiden, ma'am.
Baru bertukar presiden.
Yeah.
Okay, maaf di situ ya para penonton.
So, Doctor, thank you for
Just
coming
correction.
on the show. Thank you for coming on the show. How is Ramadan so far? Today is day 2. How do you feel?
Day 2. It's good. I did a lot of practice. Saya praktis puasa berbulan-bulan. So saya amalkan sebenarnya puasa 2 kali seminggu kan. So actually, it's good actually to actually practice fasting. So when the real fasting comes, it's not so tough in the first few days. Kan? Kalau tak hari yang hari pertama rasa terlampau susah. Tapi kalau kita dah biasa kan, actually lebih mudah untuk kita adjust.
Betul doktor. Kalau ikutkan saya ni pun kan doktor, walaupun dah tua, tapi kalau every time nak puasa je jadi macam budak kecil sikit. Setiap sejam tengok jam, pukul berapa nak buka puasa. Okey, sedikit informasi bagi para penonton pada malam ini. Dr. Zanariah sudah pun mengambil suntikan vaksin COVID-19. Mungkin doktor boleh berkongsi pengalaman setelah divaksin?
Oh ya. Saya disuntik pada 3 hari bulan Mac untuk vaksin pertama, iaitu vaksin Pfizer di Hospital Putrajaya ya. Syukurlah, alhamdulillah kami sebagai frontliner dalam KKM dapat menerima vaksin awal ya. Untuk vaccination yang pertama tidak ada masalah ya, hanya sedikit sengal lah di otot tempat disuntik tu untuk sehari 2. Ya, sedikit saja. Lepas tu 3 minggu atau 21 hari kemudiannya, iaitu 24 bulan Mac dapat suntikan kedua. Ya, dan suntikan kedua ni selalunya disebabkan immunity makin baik dan antibody response naik. Ramai yang akan rasa sedikit berbeza lah daripada suntikan pertama. Ya, ikutlah individu berlainan ya. So saya mungkin mengalami sedikit sengal juga di kawasan yang disuntik. Lepas tu ada sedikit macam tak sedap badan lah ya. Rasa otot-otot aching a bit. Lepas tu mungkin rasa sedikit lain dari biasa, tapi hanya untuk 1 hari. Dan boleh terus bekerja, boleh terus bertugas, tidak mengganggu tugas, tapi memang kita rasa lain sikit. Hanya untuk sehari lepas suntikan dan lepas tu kembali macam biasalah. So individu lain mungkin rasa lain lah kan.
Berlainan orang, berlainan efek dia.
Ya.
So what would your advice be, doctor, for those who are still concerned of the efficacy and
Yeah.
potential side effect? Should we really be worried? Sebab,
I
a lot of
know,
people. Yeah.
we have been vaccinated, for different reasons in the past,
Yeah.
as an infant, as a child, even as an adult, for when we want to visit certain areas that we would have to also be vaccinated. So
Yeah.
I mean, so this issue about vaccination should be something that we know we should do sometimes when indicated. Yeah. So
Right. Okay.
certainly now with the
That's true.
pandemic and health crisis, of course, is indicated. There shouldn't be any hesitancy that we need to be vaccinated to protect ourselves and to also protect the community at large. Yeah. So that's really important. Yeah. So otherwise, uh, for me, kalau kita nak terlampau bimbang, it creates so much anxiety. The experts have actually looked at it. The health experts, all the experts in the country have looked at the situation, have planned the most appropriate, vaccination and the schedule of vaccination. Of course, we should keep up to date with all the information, but there's so much information that it
Terlalu
can
banyak.
Ya, so kita keliru, kita confuse dan buat kita anxiety lebih lanjut, dan bila kita anxious, orang lain pun kita buatkan dia orang anxious juga. So saya rasa jangan bimbang. Kalau ada penyakit, consult your doctor and ask the questions to your own doctor. Yeah, I'm sure you can do that, and then get the right advice. And when the time comes to vaccinate, I'm sure those who are going to perform the vaccination will also be giving you a lot of thorough information. You will be monitored, so you have to have some acceptance lah.
So,
Yeah.
Doktor vaksin yang mana? Pfizer?
Ya, Pfizer, ya.
Oh, okay. Itulah sebab sekarang ni memang tak membantu juga, macam doktor kata, terlalu banyak informasi di luar sana tentang, kita kan ada beberapa vaksin kan, Johnson & Johnson. So banyak sangat, jadi orang di luar sana pun takut.
Kita buat macam ni, kita jangan fikir sangat sebab pasti apa yang disediakan tu dah dipilih. Macam saya tak ada pilihan, ya, untuk kami. Kami syukur dapat menerima vaccination secara awal. So kami akan protected lebih awal supaya pesakit kami, keluarga kami dan whoever that we're in contact with is protected. So it's simple when you know what you have to do.
Yeah.
So you do it.
But doctor,
anxiety lah. Yeah,
doctor, once you're vaccinated, is mask still required to use, to have on?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think we should all practice that. Of course, our antibody levels actually will mount up, especially after the second injection.
Yeah.
And we will be very, very sort of protected, but, of course, we're not sure. It's impossible to be 100% sure that we're protected 100%. So we should still follow all the SOPs, and this is in line with everybody else. Yeah. Yeah.
Jadi para penonton di luar sana yang sedang melihat show ini pada malam ini, jangan takut untuk mengambil vaksin, and make sure register di My Sejahtera app.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
Okey doktor, sebelum kita bercakap dengan lebih lanjut lagi tentang topik malam ini, berpuasa dan kesihatan tubuh badan, mungkin doktor boleh berkongsi sedikit apa itu bidang endokrinologi ni?
Okey. Ya, bidang endokrinologi adalah bidang kepakaran perubatan dalaman atau internal medicine yang merawat penyakit-penyakit dari organ kelenjar endokrin lah. So iaitu penyakit macam, saya just give example ya. Paling kerap ialah diabetes. Sebab kelenjar pankreas, penyakit dari situ bila tak cukup insulin, diabetes. Lagi satu yang kedua paling kerap penyakit endokrin adalah thyroid ya, iaitu kelenjar thyroid kalau dia kekurangan berlebihan hormon, kelenjar pituitary, kelenjar adrenal. So mana ada kelenjar dalam badan, bila ada penyakit berkaitan kelenjar tu, male hormone, female hormone disturbance also sometimes we are involved in. So endocrinology is a bit different from other systems because it depends where the gland is. The gland can be, in the cranium, the gland can be in the neck, the gland can be in the abdomen. Yeah. So unlike katakan mungkin sistem paru-paru terhad kepada paru-paru, ya. Tapi semua satu bidang kepakaran perubatan dalaman lah. Tapi yang paling kerap kita rawat adalah diabetes. Dan kedua thyroid, dan mungkin pakar endokrin juga memang dalam kumpulan yang merawat obesity lah, masalah besar obesity, berat badan
together kan doktor kan, diabetes dengan obesity tu selalu sama je
secara khusus ya.
Okay doktor, kita bercakap tentang diabetes. Kalau kita lihat statistik pada tahun lepas, correct me if I'm wrong doktor, di Malaysia sahaja ada 3.9 juta orang yang menghidapi penyakit diabetes ni. Memandangkan kita sudah pun berada di tahun 2021, mungkin jumlah itu telah pun meningkat ke 4 juta atau lebih. Jadi kenapa saban hari makin meningkat nombor ini? Adakah kita tidak mempunyai kempen kesedaran yang mencukupi?
So sebenarnya kita tak boleh lari daripada kenaikan kadar dan kenaikan bilangan kes, sebab we are also a population that is aging. And the population is increasing. So without a doubt, you're going to get more and more cases with time. Yeah, it's just that the rate of getting the rate of incline kadar tu naik mendadak jugalah. Kalau kita tengok kadar diabetes di negara-negara barat yang develop, mungkin dia punya rate tu macam naik tapi macam plateau sikit. Ya, tapi kita punya makin naik. But you cannot get away from having more and more diabetics in the country as we have a higher population, as we have a more aging population. Sebab diabetes ni adalah penyakit yang mengikut kepada umur. So lebih meningkat usia akan lebih banyak kes diabetes. Yang mungkin saya nak tekankan tu, kami bimbang sebab kajian yang diberitahu tadi itu yang 3.9 juta tu adalah berdasarkan kajian 2019 National Survey. Kajian tu menunjukkan sebenarnya kadar diabetes di kalangan umur 18 ke 30 iaitu young adults young adults was 6%. Which is almost 400,000 Malaysians between the age of 18 to 30 with diabetes. And the worrying thing is 90% of this age group probably don't know they have diabetes because young people don't go and check, kan? Whereas the older people on the other side of the age punya spectrum, they go and check for different reasons, whether it's a routine check, whether they, because you're older, you get sick. So there is more diabetes as you get older, but it's being diagnosed, it's being detected, it's being treated, and monitored. Whereas in the young, it's not. So I'm really worried because saya memang nampak pesakit diabetes dah seawal-awal 20-an. Kalau saya nak katakan remaja pun dah ada type 2 diabetes.
Nice to know, but
it's
Doctor,
scary.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
I don't know much about diabetes, but I think there's 2 types of diabetes. Yes.
Well, they broadly categorized into type 1 and type 2, which is the commoner main classification. But there's some other, types. Sometimes you get it secondary to other disease. So type 2 is what we have 97% of the time lah. Almost all the time it's a type 2. So type 2 ni is usually associated with a background of diabetes in the family, strong genetics, whether one parent or 2 parents. Type 2 is also very closely associated to being inactive, physically inactive. Also very closely related to being overweight or obese, terutamanya di bahagian abdomen, iaitu obesity yang berkumpul di tengah lah. Because sometimes you tengok orang tu tak obese.
Ya, betul.
Dia punya obesity is centered in the abdomen, and that is the high risk of diabetes. So type 2 ni kita fikir dulu it would start in the 50 age group, 60, like in our grandparents' time, aunties and uncles' time. But now type 2 is starting in the 30s, and it's even we're seeing it in the 20-year-olds. Because everything is
really bad.
Dipercepatkan lah, somehow accelerated. So if your parents had diabetes at the age of 40, then the next generation may get it at the age of 30, and then the subsequent generation may get it at the age of 20.
So it goes younger and younger and younger.
So in fact kalau nak ikutkan kita punya risiko as an adult Malaysian is about 1 in 5, yeah, dia punya percentage is 18%, so it's 1 in 5. We have the highest rate of diabetes in Southeast Asia. Rate lah, not the highest numbers, because you know countries like Indonesia, which are very high population, but the rate is lower, yeah. But Malaysia punya rate is 18.3% and maybe a little bit higher by now. So I know, you know, half our population is overweight to obese, and that's one of the biggest reasons. So macam mana tu nak tackle tu?
Lagi doktor, dah lah ayah saya pun ada diabetes, tapi mak saya selalu cakap macam ni dekat saya bila saya kalau nak jumpa doktor kan, nak buat health check up ke, dia akan kata, kenapa nak pergi jumpa doktor, kenapa nak buat health check up, nanti akan lagi pressure, nanti akan lagi stress kalau tahu kita ada penyakit lain. Baik jadi macam Umi ni, macam tak fikir apa-apa, senang.
I don't know how we need to tackle that. You brought up a very important issue lah tu, ya. Sebab ramai yang better tak tahu. Saya, you know, lebih baik saya tak tahu daripada saya tahu, which I think is so sad, you know, because you don't want to know it when it's so bad and you cannot do so much. But how are we going to change the mindset, ya? Yang orang kata it's better not to know. I'd rather not know. I won't check, you know. And actually, I have a sad story that happened to me just last week. You know, with a patient, you know, who has had diabetes for 10 years, yeah, and it's actually, you know, a healthcare staff, you know, had diabetes for 10 years, and somehow or other didn't check, just beli ubat. A lot of people are beli ubat sendiri kat luar, tak pergi check doktor, tak pergi periksa, yeah. And what happens after 10 years? They get cardiac failure, kidney failure, the eyes are also affected. So my message out there is, you know, if you know you have diabetes, do the right thing, you know. Get yourself checked. I mean, you have a disease, manage it so that your quality of life is good, you know. Why say, it's okay, I don't mind, 10 years later I'll look at it and then, okay, then, you know. It's such a sad story.
Might be too late.
Nak tunggu lama.
Stories. Banyak cerita sedih kat hospital. Hari-hari ada cerita sedih. Orang muda dapat buah pinggang rosak, dapat jantung sakit, jantung serangan jantung. Saya selalu hampa. So I think the awareness and education is important. Prevention, take responsibility for your health, kan?
That is a good reminder again untuk para penonton, lagi-lagi untuk anak muda, kita tak perlu tunggu macam doktor kata 10 tahun lagi untuk kita tunggu simptom-simptom tu keluar daripada badan kita. Kita kena buat health check up tu daripada sekarang. Kan Elaine, mungkin kita pun patut kena pergi buat.
Yes, I've done mine. I'm good. But I also think because it's still the pandemic, right?
Yes,
COVID is still around. So it's the best time, okay, not the best time to go to the hospital, but to get yourself checked up.
Right.
Just the whole family or whatever it is. And the issue that I often get is mahala to do annual checkup. Well, it's better for me. It's better to pay this amount than to pay more in the future when you have more health issues, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's watching, just go get yourself checked. Anything lah. Not it doesn't even mean you need to check about for diabetes.
Diabetes saja untuk semua. Tapi doktor, kalau macam doktor tadi kan, diabetic patient semua ni ataupun people we know with comorbidities penyakit, dia bila berpuasa dia tidak akan melemahkan sistem imunisasi. Dia maknanya okey, maknanya memang doktor kata memang result tu akan menunjukkan positif.
Yeah, that's a different concept because you're quoting refer to kepada immunity, yeah. But there is some improvement also in immunity with fasting, yeah. I can't elaborate on that, but what I know is if you fast, you have better metabolic sort of your factor lah, cardiometabolic tu akan terkawal baik. Tapi as you mentioned, pesakit yang ada comorbidity, kita terutamanya untuk pesakit diabetes, ya, sebab diabetes ni ubat-ubat yang kita guna macam ubat biji ataupun suntikan insulin, dia boleh kurangkan gula. So kita kena nasihat baik-baik. siapa yang boleh puasa, siapa yang tak boleh puasa. Sebab kadang ada yang pakai insulin 4 kali cucuk sehari, gula naik turun tu bahaya berpuasa. Dan kita kena beritahu mengikut Al-Quran juga, kalau mereka tu tidak sihat ya, dan penyakitnya tak terkawal, mereka sebenarnya tidak perlu puasa, mereka boleh bayar fidyah ya, dan boleh bayar balik puasa bila dah sihat. Satu dari tanggungjawab doktor yang merawat pesakit diabetes ialah untuk sebelum bulan Ramadan, untuk memastikan dia buat assessment bagi pesakit, risiko dia okey ke tidak untuk terus berpuasa, ya. So that's important. Ambil take into account whether they have difficult to control diabetes, kerap ada hypoglycemia, atau kadang umur usia meningkat dan tidak kuat, ya. So tak nak memudaratkan kesihatan lah just dalam bulan puasa. Yeah.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ramadan, majority would feast during
Yes.
iftar for the purpose of replacing the loss of food in the day.
Mm.
I've always been curious
Yes.
about this action.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
how, since we're talking about fasting and how it's beneficial for the body, how
Yeah.
is feasting during buka, like makan banyak-banyak, will affect the body?
Yes. Yup, you brought something very important up, a reminder, ingatan to everyone. Actually, it's so important to be moderate, the reason why we fast is a bit of a sacrifice, and to know, the difficulties,
Yeah.
and also to do things moderately and not excessively, yeah. So I don't know, long ago when I was a kid, we didn't have so much choices, I think a lot has been commercialized, and people are getting more demanding about what choice of food they have, what type of food they have, and I think we need to go back to basics about good nutrition. Yeah. So why don't we commercialize good nutrition instead of excess food, and itulah I feel so upset as well. So sepatutnya kita ajarlah rakyat awam, dan even those who have illness, that they should actually always be nak kata careful with how they break their fast,
Be
particularly
mindful.
diabetics also, because kadang diabetic ni they will get very high sugar after the buka puasa, because of that. So and they can get into trouble with very high glucose, and that way. So you brought an important thing up. It's a big battle and challenge for us healthcare providers. We are telling one thing, but out there the message is different. The billboards say, go and get 40 different types of dishes here that is being served at this buffet. The Bazaar Ramadan has 150 stalls, selling all kinds of things. So people want to make a living out of food, but if they can make a living out of selling food that's good, that's actually wholesome, that looks after, you consider like I'm selling food that doesn't make the person sick. But I'll get in trouble if I say too much.
Tapi ikutkan doktor kan, dalam Islam pun dia ajar kalau kita kena sikap berpada-pada tu, walaupun nak buka puasa pun kan kita tak boleh nak kalau ikut sunnah Nabi pun tak boleh nak overeat.
Yes.
Dia ada cara-cara sunnah-sunnah tu kan doktor kan, saya selalu lupa dia, tapi tapi actually dalam Islam ada sunnah Nabi yang kita patut buat. Sebenarnya tak boleh kita overeat, kena makan berpada-pada, sebab tu dia
Betul, setuju sekali.
Doctor, one last question before we go. The government recently announced that we are expected to have the 4th wave in the coming weeks. Hopefully we won't have to, hopefully tidak jadilah. How do we all work towards avoiding this, doctor?
Yeah, well, I guess on a personal sort of opinion is that we've seen that in the past We do practice, the right SOPs, that the cases come down, So I think with this sort of relaxing of the SOPs and people getting, more brave and overconfident about not protecting themselves, this is what's going to happen. And, we've seen, the fourth wave coming in other countries, and it's scary. And we're sort of thought the cases were coming down, and now we're seeing the cases not coming down. In fact, it's sort of trending up again. So if we go back to the really practicing the SOPs everywhere, as long as we're out of the house, we've got to have our mask on, we've got to do the social distancing. Try not to go out if it's not necessary. We could do that for many months. And it's sad that it's a new norm lah, cara baru hidup lah. Tapi kita sebenarnya belajar banyak perkara, belajar banyak perkara yang sebenarnya bila di rumah dan tak keluar sangat, kita boleh beri perhatian lebih kepada keluarga, buat benda yang penting, tumpu perhatian kepada benda penting, tak perlu sangat keluar, tak perlu sangat belanja banyak.
Betul. Saya setuju doktor, sebab ikutkan kita dah setahun melalui pandemik ni, dah boleh dikatakan kita ni dah biasa dengan SOP yang ditetapkan. Jadi sekarang macam doktor katalah, macam we are getting more brave to go out, sebab kita rasa macam tak apa, this is the new norm, jadi kita boleh je keluar. Terima kasih doktor untuk penerangan yang begitu mendalam, yang begitu penting juga pasal Ramadan, pasal diabetes, pasal SOP, macam-macam malah ni kita belajar, Elaine.
Well, unfortunately, Doctor, we are running out of time, but thank you so much for coming on the show to share with us about what we've talked about. And for everyone watching, insights into Ramadan and how it's linked to our health. Selamat berpuasa, and we hope to have you back on the show, Dr. Zanariah.
Thank you, Elaine. Terima kasih, Aini, and to all the listeners also, selamat berpuasa, and berpuasa dengan sihat, dan jangan lupa kita jaga kita.
Betul.
Lindung diri, lindung semua. Okay.
Betul. Terima kasih, doktor. Selamat malam.
Selamat malam.
Terimbas muka yang besar pipi, paling kuat suara malar selfie. Satu orang sunyi dan sepi, saya disiring yang tidak happy. Sorry gaman, jangan ungkit bang, ni kali kita selfie dua orang lah. Jangan merajuk, nanti siang susah, mau pujuk kamu saya yang payah. Balik-balik siap bilang rindu sama kamu, pikiran melayang macam tinggi langit biru. Sekarang kita jauh, memang saya mau pulang, sabar dulu. Sudahkah saya
Ni bagi situ minuman. Gila lah kau, pada tekan-tekan tuh komputer. Banyak lagi background dia tukar tuh.
Bah, cuma masak sudah ini.
Selamat kembali ke segmen kedua of the Unity Show. Untuk segmen special talent kita pada malam ini, kita beralih pula ke industri yang berbeza dari talent-talent kita sebelum ni, Elaine. Kita dah ada penyanyi, penulis lirik, juru terbang belon udara panas. Minggu ni pula, kita bawa pula special talent di dalam food and beverage industry. Memulakan bisnes dari rumah sejak tahun 2016, sila beri tepukan yang paling manis, paling gemuruh untuk co-owner of Sugar and I, Ilyas Alsagoff.
Hi guys, hi Aini, hi Elaine, how are you guys doing? So honored to be on your show. Wow.
Thank you.
Honored to have you.
So
I love the spirit, Ilyas.
Yes, so
okay,
glad. I'm big
Ilyas.
fans of both of you actually.
Wow, good to know.
Yeah.
Wow, kita ada fans.
Ada.
Okay, Ilyas, mungkin ada di antara penonton kita yang tak tahu mengenai Sugar and I. Jadi boleh tak Ilyas berkongsi, bercerita dengan para penonton tentang Sugar and I? Bila, bagaimana dan di mana lokasi Sugar and I ni?
Boleh. So kita bermula daripada rumah lebih kurang 2016. We started off pretty small, but we had a dream lah. Our dream was to spread happiness throughout Malaysia or even one day, inshallah, the world. How we started was pretty funny story because like my sister bakes brownies from home. And then she wanted to give our parents. So when our parents got it, our parents was like so thrilled and happy about it that we decided, you know what, it's not just about the desserts, but it's more about, you know, giving and sharing that happiness and celebrating that moment. Even though there was no particular reason to celebrate, but just the act of giving brought so much happiness. So that was one of the few qualities that we brought in Sugar and I lah. So that is our motto, which is celebrate happiness. So in Sugar and I, we don't really believe that we're selling so much like donuts or cream puffs or cakes. We're selling happiness, you know. That is what we're doing, and in time we evolve, you know. So yeah, that's the idea of Sugar and I and how it started.
I totally can relate, Aini.
Oh, Elaine is actually a baker. She bakes brownies too.
That's awesome.
Only brownies for now because you know I'm juggling between works. But macam I lapar terus.
Okay, next time you datang Sugar and I on the house.
Betul.
Oh, thank you. But Ilyas, how difficult was it for Sugar and I to promote or to push for other products when you are known for bombolonis?
Okay, so what actually happened was when COVID hit, it hit really hard because we started off with customized cakes. So as you can imagine, customized cakes is usually for weddings, for birthdays, and suddenly out of nowhere, COVID hit and no one could go out. So there was no celebrations, and we were not at a very good place, as you can imagine. But we got lucky because we had one of our regular customers asking us to make this bombolonis. At that point, we didn't even know what bombolonis were. You know, we had to Google bombolonis and like, okay, so it's basically filled donuts, all right? So we experimented on it, and we did like maybe 10 to 20 rounds of different batches and stuff like that. So we thought we had uncovered a really good recipe, and we tried to sell it out. So when we started selling, it just caught on, and one of my good friends basically passed to a few of his good friends that suddenly became viral because the friends that he passed to were celebrities or influencers. They shared on their platform, and suddenly we got a huge demand, right? Truth be told, it was all by luck and by the grace of God. So you know, I'm humble, and again, I consider myself very lucky. But I did leverage on the fact that there was a demand in that, and I put on some social media ads. I hired a few agencies to assist me in terms of marketing. I have always believed in going for classes, always upgrading myself.
Yeah.
So those were some of the few things that I did in order for us to sort of overcome COVID. And Alhamdulillah,
Is it just you and your sister?
we are the founders, of course.
Uh-huh.
But again, we would be nothing without our team lah. So we have a
Aw.
team of like 10 people.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. But
Hopefully growing lah.
Pushing for other product is one thing, but how do you stay relevant in the market knowing there are a ton of competitors out there who are selling similar desserts as Sugar and I? Sebab banyak lah, bombolonis, brownies.
Sekarang,
even for me myself, I just have to stay true to my values. Yeah, what about you?
Okay, I think we got lucky in a sense that we have a lot of friends in the influencer world, influencer circle.
Nice.
So I sent out a lot of free bombolonis out there just to spread the happiness and also for them to try our products. We didn't expect anything in return really. We just wanted to tell the world like, hey, look, we do sell this kind of this desserts and this.
And little did you know,
there was a hit, a trend.
A bomb.
I think some knowledge about marketing and digital marketing also helped us a lot actually. Yeah. So I went for classes by Dr. Azizan. I don't know whether you know him.
Oh yes, kenal? Yeah.
Dr. Azizan is one of my mentors.
Okay.
I went for one of his class and then suddenly I joined his whole team, and so I learned a lot from there, and I still feel like there's a lot more things to learn, and hopefully bit by bit we will get there. Yeah.
Well, shout out to your mentor. Being in F&B industry is certainly challenging, but how did you start up your business? Did you get funds for Sugar and I, or was it pumped in this to start the brand? How did it all ended up?
How it all started?
Yeah.
Well, we started off from home, and as the demand started to grow, because back then there weren't a lot of custom cake makers. So we were one of the few ones that started off, right? So when we started off, there was a lot of demand for it, and when we started to grow, because we were from home, right? So we had like 2 staff coming in, and we felt like, you know what, it's too small for all of us to work in here. We can expand. So initially we thought of just venturing into a shop house or something like that. But when we did a bit more research, we found out that big ovens need like high voltage, even voltage. We decided like, let's take the leap of faith and go with a shop. It doesn't have to be super central or really good location, because for me, how I view it is my first location is going to be my tuition. Because I don't know whether it's going to go well or not, but it's a learning lesson for me. It's a stepping stone, right? So we started off everything pretty from ground up, because we used all our profits from the home business. We brought it in, we borrowed some from our parents, and we basically DIY everything from the tiles. We actually
My mom need to meet you. My mom need to meet you, and you have to tell her this, because she's pretty stubborn in terms of this thing. She's the baker in the family.
I see.
Yeah. When
it
you're down,
I would be on it. So yeah, we DIY'd almost everything from design. I even had to put up the aircon compressor. I helped the people there. It was a crazy beautiful journey, and it was difficult. I wouldn't say it was smooth sailing throughout. We had our tough times, especially when we're struggling with to get sales, and because initially it was so difficult because we didn't know anything about marketing. We just jumped right into it, right? Because we were so confident, like, okay, we got demand and blah blah blah. Then suddenly open up the shop, like, creak, creak. There was nobody.
Yeah.
And so yeah, slowly we learned and spent some money on marketing, hired more people, renovated and sort of like make this place look nicer. And hopefully we're going to renovate one more time, and fingers crossed we're going to open another branch.
Second one.
Yeah.
Inshallah, I pray for your success.
Okay.
Saya excited.
Okay, apa tu? Mungkin Ilyas boleh berkongsi sedikit macam Ilyas cakap tadi. Okay, yang ni more tu kepada mereka yang baru nak berjinak di dalam industri ni. Apa strategi yang boleh mereka buat di peringkat awal? Macam Ilyas said earlier, macam your first shop, it has to be macam like a tuition. So tak perlu spend banyak sangat on your first location, spend on marketing. So macam dulu berapa banyak Ilyas peruntukkan untuk cost marketing Sugar and I?
Okay. I tak recommend ikut cara Ilyas lah, sebab
Sebab dia
I would recommend,
dia lompat je.
I dah belajar, so I tak nak siapa yang dengar from my advice macam they have to go through the same thing kan.
Betul.
I akan advise kalau orang-orang baru nak masuk, first have a clear concept of apa yang you nak buat. That's number one, because if you need to have a clear concept and a very clear vision on what you want to achieve, or even the target market yang you nak. For example kan, kalau for me my target market last time was medium to low range, and then after that I changed to medium to high range. When that was a change, bila tengok kat my location tak sesuai, sebab my location is more towards medium to low. So it really depends on your target market. So before you go into it, you can identify siapa yang sebenarnya you nak target. Kalau you nak target orang-orang yang macam high end, you kena go and buka kedai kat high end and you need to invest a bit more. But let's say kalau you nak buka kedai daripada like you just want to start small like me, you can too. So my advice is first and foremost, have a clear plan before investing any money, right?
Okay.
Number two is try to go to as many classes and meet as many entrepreneur friends as you can. Sebab when I started off pun, alhamdulillah, I had a lot of entrepreneur friends who assisted me, guided me. I wouldn't say that all of them were right, but all of them were pushing me to outperform myself yesterday. They always kept motivating me to move forward. Never mind, mistakes is inevitable. Just make it, grow from it, learn from it, and take your next step. I think that would be very useful for whoever who wants to venture into this. Another thing is, I think always try to focus on customer service. You could have the best ever food, okay? But if your customer service is horrible, no one else is gonna come to your shop. You should treat the person who comes into your place like they are kings and queens. Right?
Betul.
Yeah, so that's how I believe that you should treat your customers lah, because that small thoughtful thing that you do for them, they would tell their friends.
Betul. Word of mouth.
Yeah, just as simple as soon as they leave, and then you send them like a WhatsApp, oh, thank you so much for purchasing from Sugar and I, we appreciate it. You know how big of an impact that is, even though it's something so small.
Sebenarnya kecil je, betul?
Yeah.
Banyak tak modal yang Ilyas peruntukkan masa mula-mula start Sugar and I?
Okay, sebenarnya kita tak peruntukkan banyak modal sebab kita memang, I would say DIY lah, banyak benda.
Memang banyak DIY. Tapi roughly berapa agak-agak yang untuk mereka yang baru nak masuk, nak start their business?
Okay, so dia tinggi jugalah. Kalau nak buka kedai, I would recommend about 300 to 500,000. Yeah.
Are you listening to this?
I'm listening.
Quite big. But don't worry guys, ada cara yang lebih I would say a smarter way to go about it, and that is to start from home first. Have maybe rent out a smaller space and try online. Berjinak online dulu, because at the end of the day, I think that is instead of opening a physical retail store, you can open an online store, which is much cheaper. Tengok test market. Ada ke market? If I want to sell, let's say macaroons, is there really a market for macaroons? You know, I have to test it out, see whether there is a demand before spending 3 to 500,000 on a concept that I don't know whether it
Very
could
true.
work.
Yeah.
So go with testing, tengok testing, and always think about, if I were to open up a store, what is the worst case scenario? You know, if do I have a backup plan of plan B, plan C, plan D? Kalau my cakes tak jual, can I sell anything else? Can I convert it into another thing? Or because you want to invest 3 to 500,000, it's a lot of money. You know, so I think that's all from me, lah. Inshallah, I hope that this is beneficial for anyone who wants to start off.
But I'm listening.
So much. Thank you so much for that, Ilyas. That tu memang boleh membantu banyak. Yelah, ramai yang tak tahu kan, Elaine, di luar sana berapa yang perlukan, apa yang mereka perlu buat. Jadi, maybe you coming to the show,
Can help
explain,
these people.
berkongsi. Betul.
True.
Okay, so what's next for Sugar and I? Apa yang kita boleh jangkakan from Sugar and I? Mungkin, okay, you said your second location, tapi mungkin ada, Bomboloni's version 2.0.
We're working on that. So for the next, actually tomorrow we're launching new flavors. So do look out. We have some nice teh tarik. We have some strawberry cheesecake. So really good flavors coming out tomorrow. Aside from that, we're coming out with 2 types of cookies, especially for Raya. So it's delicious. It's a chocolate chip and also a white chocolate almond. I can't stop eating it lah because it's for Ari.
Nak kena post to Elaine. Elaine all the way kat Sabah kena hantar dekat dia rasa.
I'm scared I'm gonna grow fat.
It's kind of too late, I've been eating. I'm not supposed to eat gluten, but I've been eating a lot of gluten for the past month. But I don't mind. I'm not stopping soon.
As long as it feeds your happiness,
Betul, setuju.
Feeds the soul.
Feeds the soul, definitely.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's definitely not easy being in the F&B industry. What would your advice be to the youth who are interested to follow the same path as you are currently in right now? Macam me, I just start up my brownie business for the sake of, for fun last year. And then like yourself, first MCO, the orders went boom, couldn't sleep, tak sempat makan pun. So what is your advice to?
I feel you. My advice for the youth is go for it, guys. Never back down and always never give up. Never give up because in a business you will hit your highs and you will go through your lows. But always remember to never give up. Learn from your lessons because I'm the type of person who needs to go through that lessons to learn it, right? But I hope you out there can learn from other people's mistakes and try to avoid it. But again, don't be afraid of it. Don't fear mistakes and failures and people complaining because it happens. You just have to take from it as a feedback. Try your best to improve and implement your services in order for you to expand much more lah. I think, there's no rush in anything that you do. You don't have to be a millionaire overnight. It's no such thing as that. Okay. So my suggestion is never give up. Always have a big dream. Try your best to achieve that dream bit by bit. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you so much for that, Ilyas.
You're welcome.
That's a very good advice untuk bukan saja in F&B industry tapi for
in
any entrepreneur.
general,
In general. Itu satu anak-anak muda kita yang mungkin terlepas pandang sebab kita kan darah muda, Ilyas. Jadi kita nak semua cepat, nak kaya cepat. Tapi sebenarnya progress to get success tu kita kena bit by bit, step by step. Kita tak boleh skip that step. Kita kena go through everything.
Progress is actually happiness lah. I think without you need to one tip lah for you guys yang dekat out there to always measure your progress. This is super powerful tips for you guys because I didn't know this. I didn't know how important it is to measure. You need to measure everything from your sales to your stock count because at the end of the day, like 2 years go by and you look back and you have all this data, you can sort of predict what's going to happen. So always measure your progress. And at the end of the day, bila you tengok belakang, you'll be like, wow, I've actually accomplished quite a bit. So, you pat yourself on the back lah kadang-kadang. So it's really important for entrepreneurs out there to remember to do this kind of things lah.
I feel like Allah is speaking to Aini and I through you, Ilyas.
Oh my God.
It's like reminding us to like
measure your progress. I pun tak pernah terfikir measure your progress. Who would have thought? Siapa yang kalau ikutkan macam mana kita nak measure progress? Kita takkan fikir pun benda tu in the first place, you know. But thank you for reminding us, Ilyas. It's so nice to have you on the show. Malangnya kita tak mempunyai masa lagi untuk bercakap pada malam ini.
I wish
Thank you so much again.
Okay, nanti kita catch up soon lah, okay?
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
All the best for Sugar and I.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be on your show.
Thank you.
Till next time. Bye, guys.
Wow. Hari ni kita memang betul-betul tersasul ya, Elaine.
Banyak gelak.
Terlalu banyak juga. Sekali lagi kami memohon maaf sekiranya ada tersilap kata, tersasul ke. Maklumlah baru hari kedua kita berpuasa kan, Elaine?
That's right.
Sempena bulan Ramadan, kita bawakan tetamu istimewa, Datuk Dr. Zanariah Hussein, pakar runding endokrinologi di Hospital Putrajaya untuk berkongsi tentang kelebihan berpuasa dan bagaimana mereka yang berpenyakit boleh memanfaatkan bulan ini untuk kembali sihat. Yang paling penting, Elaine, kita sebagai anak-anak muda perlulah bertanggungjawab untuk melakukan pemeriksaan kesihatan awal kerana ianya mampu mencegah penyakit dari terus melarat dan sukar diubati. Tersasul lagi tu. Tak kisahlah diabetes ke, kanser ke, kencing manis ke, prevention is better than cure, they say. Untuk segmen kedua pula, okey, ini agak lucu sedikit sebab di awal segmen tadi Dr. Zanariah sudah berpesan kepada kita tentang amalan untuk hidup sihat, tentang pemilihan makanan dan penjagaan portion semasa Ramadan. Tapi life is all about balance, kan? Jadi kita bawakan seorang usahawan dari industri makanan, co-owner of Sugar and I, Ilyas Alsagoff. Ilyas bercerita bagaimana Sugar and I mula beroperasi dari rumah sehingga bertapak di Subang Jaya dan pengalaman keusahawanan dirinya untuk DIY kedai pertamanya. Ilyas juga berkongsi aspirasinya untuk mereka yang ingin berjinak di dalam industri sama.
That's right, Aini. Tonight, we basically have the best of both worlds. A good reminder to everyone that we can indulge but be mindful of the portion. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms once more and drop us an email at hope@theunityshow.com if you know anybody who you want us to feature them on the show. And don't forget to download the app. Download the app.
Betul tu, Elaine. Jangan lupa download tau. Kita orang ni tersasul banyak kali dengan puasa ni. Download. Tell everyone to download the app. Jangan lupa.
Yeah.
Apa-apa pun, The Unity Show strives to unite the nation through the interest of our generation, regardless of political ideology, race or religion. We all should come together as one to spread hope, never hate, to unite and not divide ourselves as Malaysians. We can only grow stronger together. So let's keep the faith and spread that faith. Kita jumpa lagi minggu hadapan di masa dan platform yang sama. Selamat malam.
Don't forget to download the app.
Oh, sempat.